Welcome to episode 4 of Mitts Off. We are thrilled to be joined by Edmonton Oilers defenseman, Hamilton native, Darnell Nurse, one of my old teammates and friends. Darnell's rookie year was my last year in Edmonton. We'll share some stories, some experiences, talk about his family and a little bit of personal life. Mitts Off is powered by Sports Interaction, our exclusive betting partner. Get in the action all summer long. Download the app to get started, 19 plus, and please play responsibly. Here we are, joined by my old teammate and friend, Edmonton Oilers defenseman, one of the great guys as well in the game, on the ice, off the ice, one of the best teammates I think I've ever had in my career. Darnell Nurse is in here today. How you doing, buddy?
Thanks for having me, Gus.
So how's life, man? I know pandemic and stuff. I haven't seen you in years. Brief conversations when I was down there in the playoffs, but how's life, man? Summertime now, a little bit of downtime. What's going on?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. Got one kid, Aiden now. He's 2 and another one on the way. So my wife does the heavy lifting in the morning. I like to come home in the afternoons and help out, whether it's going to the park, riding bikes. It's been a lot of fun and life's great.
So what do you remember about that first year? That would have been my last year in Edmonton, your first year in the league, in terms of, your transition into a full-time NHLer on the blue line and just kind of breaking into the league. That year was unbelievable. I kind of look back on the roster we had there. It was one of the most probably eclectic groups of guys that I played with. Benny Poo, Matt Hendricks, Mark Fain, Teddy Purcell, Halsey Ebbs, Yumi, Davo, Leon. It was just like unreal, and we all lived so close to each other. What kind of memories do you have of that first year being a rookie in the NHL?
First off, I think Rexall place. I think, the place that you go every day. No windows, underground. And usually you're going in there when it was dark.
Yeah.
It felt like you were coming out. It was still dark outside. Coming into the NHL, you really don't know what to expect, right? And like you said, it was just a mixed bag of personalities that we had in Edmonton. A lot of veteran guys. I think the results for us didn't really show up in the standings and whatnot, but there was a lot to learn from guys like yourself in so many different roles that I remember. It was big. You go to the Allegro lunch before games, and obviously the role that you played on the team was a really hard role, and you think a guy that goes out there and fights all the time, he's got to be intimidating off the ice too, right? And I remember my first year, you were one of the most welcoming people, and I always look back on that with great regards and try to bring that a little bit now to the rink every day, and hopefully be one of those guys that guys on my team can, no matter what spot you're in, can reach out to or want to hang out with. So those are some of the good memories, those Allegro lunches.
It's so funny you bring that. It was my favorite thing. Yeah. It was literally my favorite thing. Pre-game skates. So for those who don't know, we used to go to a restaurant in Edmonton called Allegro, and we'd have the back room. But after pre-game skate, guys were just sprinting over there, and it was the best time because it was the last time I think for game day where there wasn't no one's nervous. There was nothing like that. And we'd sit down, we ate family style, up to 15, 16 guys we'd have there in that room, playing credit card roulette after every time.
And you always lost the first 2 times.
If you get invited, you lose the first.
Yeah, the first time. I remember I lost the first 2 times. And then thank God you guys let me off the hook for the 3rd time.
That was our rule. You couldn't lose 3 times in a row for lunch. So the boys would pick it up. But honestly, man, I'm glad you said that, because that was kind of the things that we tried to do as our core group of veteran guys was make you guys feel as welcome as possible and do things like that off the ice. And I think that's one thing. I mean, I'll get into talking about playing in Edmonton a bit here. I think that's one thing that goes under the radar about playing there is how close you get with the boys and how close you get with your teammates. You just talked about how you're building a house in Glenora, basically Valley View. That's where we all lived. It was 9-iron to Teddy and Fainers. Remember Bill Comrie's house, the old mansion they lived in? The basketball court in the middle of the house.
They had everything in that house.
We had Christmas parties, everything there. But you're just really close to your teammates, right? There's not a ton to do in Edmonton. And I feel like even spouses and kids and stuff, man, the Oiler group was closer than any other organization that I had played with. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I haven't played anywhere else, so I'm biased towards
true.
what we have in Edmonton. But I think you nailed it on the head. Like from the kids going to classes together, I think we have 5, 6, maybe even 7 kids that are going to be under 2 on our team, so that they'll all be going to the same classes and hanging out together. And then as far as the guys, if you want to get together, you get together, right? And it builds that tight bond and keeps us together as a group. And it's a great place to play. I've had a lot of great memories there, and just hoping to build a lot more.
One of the coolest things for me was when we met Drake at the Raps playoff game, 2016, playing at Pacers, right? We got the text, come down to Share Club. What do you remember about going in the Share and you, me, and Connor, Drake coming by and introduced himself?
Yeah, I just remember that was like one of the darkest rooms I've ever been in my life. It was
pitch black.
It was like,
we didn't know anybody.
We didn't know a single person in the place, and you could hardly see 3 feet in front of you. But I think we were just posted up at the bar, and Drake came walking through, and Gaz is the best because you just walk up to somebody and be like, "Hey."
What's up?
So he just walks up, gives them a tap, says hey, and goes, "I'm with my teammates here, Darnell and Connor." And Drake's like, "Oh, I got like a Connor jersey." So it was like,
yeah, you said you bought it off eBay.
Yeah, off eBay. Yeah.
So I bought your jersey off eBay. I'm just like, what?
It was pretty cool experience because you're seeing 2 greats kind of say hi to each other and introduce themselves. And I had no voice. So
yeah, I forgot.
I don't even know if I even got a hello in, but it was a cool experience to be around for.
It was one of the sickest things just watching, probably because Views, his 2016 album was just about to come out. Remember, he's like, I'm going to finish the album at the studio or whatever. He's like, Chubbs can stay here, you guys can hang out, but just down to earth. And like Connor was just like staring up, a little shy, kind of awkward look, but man, that was really freaking cool. For sure. I feel like we talk about Connor a lot. Leon for me is just such an interesting guy. I played with him the year before you got there. So his rookie year in the league, 18 years old. I think he only ended up playing 37 games or something like that. Got sent back to junior. But from working in the media this year, I just saw how like the media just wants to absolutely roast these young kids in the league, 18, 19 years old. Shane Wright's the perfect example of what I was talking about is people coming down hard on these kids at such a young age. And I always bring up Leon as a guy who was like, he was the same way, man. He was just maybe a bit overmatched, wasn't as big as strong as he is now, and certainly like wasn't as confident. So he goes back to junior, comes back. That is now your rookie year. You've played with him for the last 5 years, uninterrupted, side by side, 6 years. Yeah. Can you talk about what stands out for Leon and like his development from kind of when you guys both broke into the league to now, and the dominance that we know in Leon?
Yeah. I mean, he's, one of the best players in the world, and he's one of the best players in the world every night. And that consistency that he brings, he's got, I think he's got a mind really second to none in the way that he sees the game, the way that he processes things, the way he's able to defend pucks and move pucks on his backhand. He does so many things on that ice that no one else can. And I think you nailed it on the head. Like he came in and he faced that fire a little bit, right? And was able to stay confident in himself and just play and know how great of a player he was going to be. And now, every year he seems to just do things that like, how do you make that pass? How do you see that play? Yeah. And it's like I said, it's on a nightly basis. It's incredible. I
know, because I think when that first contract, like the first news of his contract came out, his first extension, the big one, people were all over it, ripping it, but I just don't know if people knew what Leon was. Like, we knew what we had in him, right? We were in Edmonton going like, just salivating, like this kid's the real deal. It took the league a couple of years to get on notice, I feel like. And even after he signed the contract, he's overpaid. And now it looks like one of the best deals in sports just because of how he's performed. But I think people want to know, like, well, what's he like? Like how do you describe Leon?
I mean, he's like one of my best buddies. He's he's just honest, you know, like if he doesn't want to talk to somebody, like he's not hiding that, right? Like he comes in, he's in a bad mood, he's in a bad mood. If he's in a good mood, he's in a good mood. But he's, you talk about like competitors and people who just want to win and care about winning and he has like a genuine care about making other guys better. He brings that every day. I think as a leader, he brings a lot of things that you know, me myself personally, I'm like, okay, I need to be a little bit more like that. You know, to come in each and every day and expect to be at the top of my game and expect to be crisp making passes, expect to be able to see the plays. Like there's an expectation that he has, and he brings it with a little bit of fire, a little bit of juice, and he doesn't hide the way he feels. And I think as a teammate, it just brings out the best in everybody. I
think you said it perfectly about setting the standard. I remember in practice, even that year at those kids' ages, they set a standard for how we were going to skate and practice every day. And I can only imagine how it is now. You guys are the core of that team and have taken over. Is that kind of an expectation for you on a daily basis that they've set it, or you guys set the standard and you got to match that every dang day?
Yeah, 100%. You know, it's like, for me, I want to make sure I come in and bring the work, you know, and the execution, but, you know, to come in each and every day and make sure, hey, like when we're getting on the ice, we're getting better. We're not going to go out here and, you know, lollygag around and waste each other's time. And you know, those two are great examples of doing that. And like you said, they brought it from a very young age. And, for a leadership group to be able to do that each and every day, and you know, that extends to Nuge. You know, you have Himes, you have Ekholm, we have all these guys that have brought that same type of passion as our team has grown and as our team has gotten older, and we're more hungry to have that success. That's something that we need to bring every day.
You guys have really put in the work. I'll never forget though. Do you remember when Halsey had won? Do you remember he made that deal with us where if he won the All-Star game, he was going to fly the boys down to Vegas after the season? And so he's getting the list together towards the end of the year. And I think the season ended and they made you guys go down to Baco for like two or three games.
Those guys didn't have to go. I had to go for Baco. I'd been eliminated from the playoffs.
Not even in the playoffs. I remember you guys came up to me, little puppy dog eyes. You're like, I'm sorry.
Like a week before, and I had to go fly to Baco, fly to Grand Rapids.
It was on the road too?
Or fly to Milwaukee, Grand Rapids, and I was able to go home after that.
Oh no. I just remember you guys were so excited. It's probably the right decision by the team. Like, let's let a 19-year-old Darnell Nurse and Leon go to Vegas with six vets on the team 100%, on a private jet. Can you talk about that King Clancy a little bit? Obviously something near and dear to your heart. You put in a lot of time and effort away from the rink to be a good person and set a good example in the community. Is that something that was kind of instilled down on you, or something that you've wanted to take charge of?
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of everything, right? I think first and foremost, like when you talk about sacrifice and whatnot, like my parents, they had 3 kids that were playing, you know, high-end sports where they had to travel around all over North America to go to tournaments, and whether it was get a flight, get a hotel, pay for me to play hockey, all the equipment that goes along. Like they made a lot of sacrifices themselves. I think it starts with them showing me, you know, you got to do what you can to take care of those that you love. And from there, I was given a great opportunity, you know, to play a sport that I love and make lots of money, and to be able to find some causes that were really near and dear to me. So even during the pandemic, I was sitting down with my mom and talking. I want to help out some charities, because I honestly just during that time you do a lot of self-reflection, right? You get to sit in a room or sit in your house and not move. You know, you do a lot of self-reflection. So I was like, you know, I want to find some causes that are near and dear to me. And we had gone and visited a few places, but I couldn't really pinpoint something that had like all the markers that I really want. So when I was in Hamilton, I said, you know, why don't we do a scholarship at my high school? So we get on the phone call with the principal and then some of the guidance counselors, and ask them what would be the process to put together a scholarship. So you know what, like we can do this in the next month. Like, just give us the criteria that you want. We'll do it in the next month. So we put together a scholarship for 2 kids to get $40,000 each for 4 years, or like $10,000 per year for 4 years to go towards their education. And the criteria is, financial need. They have to have high, there's a high standard for marks and community involvement. And then all the recipients, they go through a committee, and it goes down to the last 5 recipients, and those get sent off to me. And
you choose?
Yeah, I choose. So I sit down and read through these, and these are like the hardest days of the year.
But man, you got a smile on your face. Like you're obviously proud of this. No, this is cool. Like, I can see you're excited about this.
No,
it's awesome.
It is great, but because this year I actually went and presented them at my high school. It was the first time like I actually got to meet the recipients, because we did the first 2 over Zoom. But like, just some incredible people that have done things like, getting into schools that they had no business getting into. People told them, there was one person that won, and they were told that they would never go to university, or they'd never get out of locally developed classes, and just smashed it and was able to get the scholarship and go to school. So it's things like that. And then we found free play for kids in Edmonton, who do a lot of work with immigrant families and newcomers to Canada, and people maybe not in the best financial situations in the city, and they give them the opportunity to interact with each other through play. There's classes that they take, there's meals and travel. So, a lot goes into that. So to be able to help out a little bit with their cause too. So yeah, those are the 2 big things for me, and it's been a lot of fun to be a part of.
So you said during COVID pandemic, you had a lot of time to kind of reflect and think, thinking of different charity initiatives, but like, was that a whole mindset thing? Did you have a lot of time to just sit down and kind of reflect on everything, your career up to that point?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it was a friend of mine actually got me the book, David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. And I read the book. He was like, just let me know what you think after. So I think like I read the book. I'm like, okay, I got to work out like every day. Like I couldn't, like, if we're even in the pandemic, I'm like, I got to find a way to work out. So we're getting the workouts in, and I actually got back into taking some classes too during the pandemic. So I went to the HLPA. They have this crossover to Harvard business class. So I took it. Did you take that one?
I did the same thing.
Yeah. So I took that one.
How'd you do?
I think I did good. They told me I was close to making it through.
So I'll never forget. I got to cut you off because I failed the first block. I thought it was going to be the easiest thing online ever. I got 15% in the first one, but ended up, sorry, continue.
Oh, no, you're good. So yeah, I had 2 mentors, ended up being a third, ended up joining our group. But so we were just doing case studies all the time, but we would connect like every week. And I remember at the end of it, I was like, I'm thinking of kind of like taking classes. Like, should I just go take classes to get a degree, or like try to find something I'm interested in? And they're like, why don't you just find something you're interested in? Like, you don't have that much time anyway. So I ended up taking a few real estate courses, because I always loved real estate since I was young. And I'm actually currently still taking courses. I'm with the UBC Stoddard School of Business, and I'm taking this thing. It's called like the Diploma of Urban and Land Economics. So I take
Who is this guy?
I take a course.
Who is this guy? This is unreal.
I take a course per term. So I'm taking foundational mathematics for real estate. I'm doing that right now. I did micro, macro.
Look at you, man. Do you do it during the year, or is this an off season thing?
I do it during the year too. It's not too taxing. I have probably 4 hours in the week.
Yeah.
And you probably commit to it. So it's actually really easy on the road, because I can do, if you're on the road for 7 days, I'll take 3 of the days. I'll try and knock out like 3 weeks of it.
Are you one of those players that thinks you have absolutely no free time playing in the NHL? Because there's some guys who just think it's so busy, and I think there's a whole other half that is like, as a pro hockey player, you have so much free time.
Oh, we have a ton of free time. I would say my summer almost feels busier than during the season, just because you want to get home, you want to be a dad.
Yeah.
Right? So there's always something like, oh, you're going to the park or I'm going to the swimming pool. There's always something going on. But yeah, no, during the season, I love taking the courses because obviously it challenges the mind too.
When I look back on it, I kind of wish I did stuff like that. I wish I was just so focused on hockey. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't want to divert any other energy or attention on that. But now I kind of wish I did. Like how important is that for you to have something kind of away from the rink that you can maybe go to that's just different and have hobbies, active interests, whatever it is, away from the rink?
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of worried about that too. Like quite honestly, like, okay, I'm going to take courses like that's going to sacrifice from the amount of time that I spend thinking about hockey or taking care of my job. And it's kind of crazy because I feel like the opposite has happened because like now I'm in hockey, like it's just all I want to focus on. Right. It's like you might take 2 hours of the day to do your course. You know, you're going to take the other 6 hours to be a dad. But those 4 or 5 hours that you're at the rink, like those are going to be strictly hockey. And that is never going to change. Will it take away from, will the courses maybe take away from not being so stressed out at night about hockey? Maybe, you know, but I mean, like taking the courses for me, that was the first thing I thought. I was like, this is going to take away from the hockey aspect. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it on kind of like a probationary status. Like, yeah, I'll try it out. I was like, look, it works well. Like it's some free time, just knock it out. But my focus on hockey and my time on hockey, I honestly might have even increased. It's just, but yeah.
Yeah. You talked about your family and the influence they've had on you, the athletics. I just want to know about this. I mean, sister Kia, cousin Sarah, you're in the NHL, Uncle Donovan. Give me some, like, tell me about this. This is unbelievable. The athletics that come from your family and the inspiration that must have had on you.
Yeah.
You know, not only as a player, but as a person coming up.
100%. For me, like some of my first memories are asking my dad about what he went through to play in the CFL. And he'd be like, oh yeah, I didn't start playing because I always wanted to play football growing up because I wanted to be with my dad. He's like, you're not playing football. He's like, I started playing football in grade 12. He was a receiver. Yeah. So he's like, I started playing football in grade 12. So you're not playing football, you're going to get hurt. So he puts me in hockey because you don't get hurt playing hockey. So those are some of my first memories are like, yeah, I want to be like my dad. He played football. So he's like, you know, play football. Okay, I'll play a different sport. I'll find a sport that works for me. And I had actually my older sister went to school at University of Oregon in Bowling Green. So when she went off to school, we would have been like grade 4 or grade 5. So like you're at a pretty impressionable age at that point, right? And I was like, okay, that's cool. You get an education too, playing a sport. Like, I want to do that. So we all looked up to my older sister Tamika. But then you have our cousin Sarah, our Uncle Donovan. My Aunt Rox has like all the female basketball records at Syracuse. It never gets spoken about.
She just gets left behind.
Yeah, just left behind. My mom played basketball at Mac. So like we have all these athletes in our school.
Just ingrained in you, eh?
And even worse, like to make it worse. So they had at the high school I went to, St. Thomas More in Hamilton. They used to have this big board and it had all like the track and field records. Like all my aunts and uncles, and my dad, their names start with an R. So it was always like our nurse on everything. So it's like you're going to school. I'm looking at that. My older sister got athlete of the year 1 year, basketball player of the year. My younger sister's on the wall too, and I'm just like, I'm this hockey player. That's like really look down upon as an athlete. But yeah, you get to the dinner table, getting challenged by everyone. Heated. Yeah, like there was a basketball net. Our neighbors had a basketball net growing up, and kind of turned into our basketball net at some point because we would just go out there and play on their net. They were the best. The Nardies, they were the best.
Did you and Kia go toe to toe?
Yeah, and we had to stop because it would get way too aggressive. Actually, me and Kia would play my dad and Tamika, and we played one game and elbows were being thrown and everything. It was my mom was just like standing off like, you guys are such idiots. So that was the end of that. But yeah, it's just competitive. Like even marks, you come home, like I have a better mark than you, and then all of a sudden you got to study all next week to make sure your mark at the end of the week was better than your sister's. It was constant competition with everything.
Did that seep over into your hockey life? Like as you're playing in the league?
Yeah.
Do you see those habits kind of competitive habits creep back into your game in your life?
100%. Because, I think like with a hockey season, you only get so many cracks at it, right? To be able to play the sport. And so that competitive and, wanting to be in those times the best at the table, it definitely fuels me, because you don't want to be left with any type of regret when it's all said and done. But so, every summer, you go back and reflect on the year past, and you don't want to have any regrets going into the next one.
So talk about that. I read a great quote from Jim Playfair in a Sportsnet article as I was looking you up a little bit here, and it talked about how you went home in the summers and you watch your shifts, you catalog your games. First of all, I didn't even know that was an option. Like, I think by the time I was out of the league, like, we had those computers at the rink or whatever, but you can have those accessible and ready for you in the summer. You can watch anything. Yeah. Can you go all the way back to when I played?
We could find a few clips for sure. Because I think they have my first year. So yeah, we can find some clips.
They won't take that long to watch.
Oh, wait. we could break down the summer in a few days. We can break down season.
Don't even joke, bro. I used to sit down there in the mornings. Coaches would be like, "Go watch your shifts," and I would be over my shifts by be halfway done my coffee. I'm like, I'm done now. What's next? But I just thought that was so interesting that you do come home in the summer and watch them and break them down. I'm sure you go over them with Oatsy a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I think it changes too. Like, every summer, you're probably looking for something different, looking at the game a little bit differently too. Because I think you watch shifts and it's so easy to get into the X's and O's of it, without, if you're looking at your own game and you're like, okay, I should be in this spot or this spot, or as opposed to, okay, maybe my body positioning or should be, in a different position, a different posture, so I can react to this puck differently. So I think as I get older, the way that I watch the shifts is a little bit different. Because, I mean, look, you're going to go through 82 games plus the 12 more. Like, you're going to watch all those games in the summer, and you could easily be really high on yourself or beat yourself down. I'm more of I like to find the things that I need to correct and fix. But how do you do that in a mature way, and how do you do that in a way that you're taking those lessons and you're able to put some practice into them on the ice, right? So that's why the way I've watched film probably changes, because originally when I'm watching film, I'm like, okay, we run X system and this breakdown happened. Like, why was I not in this spot? Or whereas now I'm like, okay, if I'm in this posture, or if I'm able to make this turn, or if I'm able to load this leg, like, I can close that gap quicker. I can react to this play better. I can jump in this play better. So being able to look and kind of maybe read my body more and read, because everyone that plays this game is unique,
it's almost like watching it more unselfishly.
100%.
Because you're so dialed in, especially like when I was young, exactly what you're talking about, man. You just watch you're seeing the clips and you're like just zoned in on you. But as soon as you kind of look at the external around you and you're talking about body position, stick position, are there different other plays that can watch the play developing around you? It's so interesting. Yeah. Coaching wise, you sound like you've been extremely well coached. The maturity is like shining through. It's unbelievable. And I think that could have been a challenge looking at your history. Technically 6 coaches in 7 years, if you include Dallas, 5 and 6 really. So how much of an adjustment, or how much adjustments do you have to make with the turnover behind the bench?
We had a lot of turnover. I mean, it's going to my 9th year, and you just name the amount of coaches that we had. And, with that amount of change comes different systems. With that amount of change comes different meetings. So everything changes all the time. But yeah, like you said, we've had some great coaches while I've been there. I'll start with Todd. I think we had Hitch for half a year, but I think for me, looking back, Hitch probably had one of the bigger impacts on my career, because he was one of the first coaches I played for that was like, okay, you could be more than just a shutdown guy in the NHL. You can play two ways. You can still bring that element of being hard to play against, but also bring another element of making a play, another element of, being involved in offensive plays. And I think you do whatever you can to get to be an everyday NHLer. And I think along that way, sometimes you lose some of the confidence that you had in yourself growing up and getting into junior and going through junior. And then that was kind of like a little reset for me. And then, now I'm at the point I'm 9 years in.
Well, I think to me, it was so much to do with trust, because with a new coach and a new coaching staff came a whole new relationship that I would have to have, that everyone would have to have with the coaching staff. And in order for a coach to trust you and to play you more, you got to build that up, right? You start building up, just like your catalog of shifts, man. You put together shift at a time, game at a time, and now you have 5-10 games. Coach starts trusting you, wants you on the penalty kill. Same thing with you. Maybe you're getting some extra power play shifts, trusts you a little more. And I think that was the hardest thing. I mean, I was only here for 3 years. I had 4 coaches in 3 years. Mac T came down in the middle of the second year, and it was just like, man, now I have a whole new guy that I have to, build up this relationship with. And I mean, that was just tough for me. Did you experience that at all?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I think the time we went through, like, you're young, right? So you're kind of like when you went through it, you're probably a little more established, right? And when you're young, you're like it's kind of just like, okay, what are you gonna throw at me today?
Just
I don't care.
Orders?
It's like, what are you gonna throw at me today? Like, I don't care. Like, I'm just gonna get the job done, and then we'll move on to the next task. I think it would definitely be harder when you're more established and you have, like, you build that trust. It's kind of because you've seen so much more, right?
Yeah, true.
As a player, like, you've seen so much more, so you build that trust, and then all of a sudden you gotta rebuild it. Well, hey, like, I went through a situation where I had the same coach for 3 years. And they played me a certain way, and, like, I feel like I'm back to when I was a young guy in the league, right?
Yeah,
and, like, that
sure.
would be, like, a tough pill to swallow some days.
When I was there, I felt a certain need to, I don't want to say protect you guys. You don't need protecting. You're a big, strong guy, but Leon, Connor, especially Nuge, guys like that couldn't necessarily defend themselves. I took real pride in, like, making sure those guys felt safe on and off the ice, being like a dad. And I hope you guys appreciated that. And I just feel like I've watched you kind of evolve into that role. Now, actually being a dad, like, you're still out there throwing down you don't fight a ton, but you throw down when push comes to shove, you're there and you're willing. Is that a role you've kind of taken on and embraced as being, I don't want to say team tough guy, team enforcer, but, kind of big brother watching over and making sure no one's crossing the line?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I think, I've always had that feeling, like, you want to take care of, you always want to take care of your family, right? My dad always has, like, great thing he used to tell me. He's like, fear no man, respect them all. Like, he told me this since I was, like, 4 or 5 years old. So, I mean, like, that translate right into the job that we do, right? It's, if someone's gonna try to take advantage of your family or your teammates, like, you're not gonna let that happen. And that's just kind of been something that's been instilled in me from a very young age. So yeah, I would definitely say I'm definitely not the team enforcer. I'm definitely not throwing them down like you were. But I mean, if it ever came to the point where you gotta stand up for someone, and I mean, that holds a lot of weight with your teammates, right? And a lot of times when you'll do that, other people will step up to do the same.
Yeah, because there was a fight. You fought Luch. Were you a rookie when you fought Luch? He was on LA?
Yeah.
I brought that clip up because I was watching before this, and then Grapes talked about it in between periods on Coach's Corner about, he's young, like, he's a teenager. He shouldn't be fighting these big guys. I actually looked at the date. He's like, someone else should be doing this job. I actually looked at the date. I was on the team, so I don't know where I was at this time. I was missing the action, apparently. But then you fought Luch. You played with Luch and then fought Luch again in the Battle of Alberta. He's back in Boston. Are we going round 3 next year or what?
It's a situational thing. I'm not going out there looking to fight. Like, as the toughest guy in the NHL, I'm not going out there looking to fight.
You think he is now toughest guy in the league? Because you fought him. I fought him as well. He was in Boston. I fought him when I was a rookie. I think he's truly the toughest guy. Like, when he grabbed onto me when I was a rookie, that was the the strongest I've felt someone grab me. I remember we were right in front of the bench. He pushed me right where he wanted, took my helmet from the back, chucked it. I thought I was in trouble, but did you have any nerves in the first time, or did you feel better in the second time?
I had nerves for sure. I think the first time, I might be wrong, but I'm like 98% sure I'm right. The puck comes back, went over, Korpikoski got in the corner. He went to clear because I think we were on the PK, and he went to reverse hit Luch, and like that's not going to go well.
So you were on the penalty kill.
I'm fairly sure, yeah.
Luch was on the power. Dude, if I was on a power, oh my God, if I was on a power play and I fought, it would be the last power play I ever played. But yeah, you're young. He's a big guy. What's the first thing when you're scrapping? What are you looking for? Like
at that point, just to survive. They just grab on and survive.
Man, you're so big. It's just
I know but I'm not like, yeah, like there's technique. I didn't learn a ton of technique. Yeah. I more just like got in the fights. Because sometimes it felt like necessary. Like off the ice, I don't like fight. Like I don't even condone it. I'm like, why? There's no need for that. I mean, on the ice, it's kind of just like, okay, like if the time presents itself, like, oh,
it's more of an emotion thing for you.
I'll let my emotion go, right?
Because I have seen you blow a couple gaskets. The McCormick one, Hag in the playoffs this year. So did you ask him to go or what? Like the whole thing about this was the player safety, right? Because they had suspended Petro, and then the instigated rule in the last 10 minutes is so stupid. And I don't know. I don't love it. But what'd you say? Well, what happened?
No? I mean, just a fight took place between two people that wanted to fight.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I mean, you kind of just leave it. You just leave it at that. I mean. It kind of speaks for itself.
Just two guys releasing their emotions.
That's all. I think it's like two guys that were, emotionally invested in the series and weren't afraid to fight each other. Like they just.
It was a great scrap.
Yeah, it was a good fight, and
you caught him too. I'll give you the win there.
Yeah, I mean, however you want to see it. But,
I'll give you the dub for sure.
But yeah, it's just. I mean, obviously things came about after, but I mean, to be expected. Was Petro slash still on your mind when you're scrapping? Honestly, it was more so just the guy was asking me to fight.
Yeah,
at the John throughout the game. So, and a couple of games before, it was a tough series, man. It was, yeah. Right, they're a really good team, and the better team ended up winning and winning the Stanley Cup. So, congrats to them. So, I mean, looking ahead here to next year. Just getting over the hump, man. Like I still love your team. I've been in your corner ever since I've been there, and you're right there. Is there something it's going to take to get over the hump, or you just keep doing the right things, keep putting in the effort? What's your kind of outlook on coming into next year here? Yeah, I mean, I don't think there is much rocket science behind it. It's coming in, committing to the way that we want to play. And bringing that work ethic that we need each and every day to keep chipping away at. I think you look at the teams that have won in the past, seems like before they do it, everyone's getting frustrated. It's a process, man. And you can't be discouraged. Can't be discouraged by failure. I think that's the biggest thing is, you're going to come into the season and, was there 32 teams now? You could argue 31, have faced, that level of frustration going into the summer that you don't want to face. So for us, just to be able to stick with it, to not get frustrated in the process that this game puts you through each and every year, and believe in ourselves. I mean, I find it crazy, and maybe it's just my opinion, or I find like the media and like, especially hockey media, it's so much about the negativity and trying to knock down and bring people down and look for the flaws in each player and each team and each game. I think, for us to bring that positive attitude and to be able to believe in ourselves, be able to work for that belief, because you can't just say, hey, I'm going to be a great player today and not work the day before, or not come out to practice and put your skates on and lace them up and get ready to go. Like, we have to work for our belief, but we got to believe that we are a great team, because I believe we are.
So you sign your ticket. Is there any, sort of pressure you feel expectation wise once you sign a contract like that to perform to it like on a daily basis?
I mean, there was the expectation before I signed the contract of what I think I'm capable of performing and being at each and every night. I think the value, or whatever, however you want to describe it, is going to bring, I mean, I've played in the high pressure market since I first came to the league, right? Like it's great. Like me personally, I love it. Because there's that juice, that fire in the summer. But I mean, you also have to take a lot of stuff with a grain of salt. Like sometimes I feel like I've been blamed from everything from a goal against to the traffic on Stony Plain, right? So like, it's just like, you have to be really cognizant of what you
traffic on Jasper.
Yourself.
Thanks, Darnell.
Yeah. What the pressure you put on yourself. But I mean, look, like there's no one that's gonna expect more out of me than me, and that's been something that has been instilled in me since I've been very young. So yeah, there's pressure that comes along with that. But with that said, one of the cooler things that has come from all of this is like my parents got to retire last year, right? Those are people that made like sacrifices their whole life. Like you can't put a value on that. So like any pressure that I'm gonna get from someone else, I couldn't even imagine the pressure that they were going through when they're trying to support 3 people, to play their sports and then still keep the lights on, right? So things like that, like that's why for me, one, the pressure will never be more than I'm gonna put on myself. Secondly, I think anytime that you've earned and put yourself in the position to play a lot of minutes and be a big part of your team, you don't take that lightly. You take that's a responsibility that I've always wanted. That's a responsibility that I feel like I need to earn each and every day also. And then, thirdly, there's also a thank you, department to the owners and management and my teammates, because they trust that I could do that job each and every day, and you don't want to let them down.
That's so cool about the parents, man. Did you tell them like, hey, you guys don't have to work again?
Yeah, no, it was Christmas, so it was cool.
Chills. That's really cool, man. Well, man, I honestly can't say enough good things about you. I love working in sports media, pumping the tires, just because I know what you bring behind closed doors and the attitude. And dude, just sitting here, the maturity shines through. You've been well coached and raised up. So best of luck this year. It's only a matter of time, baby. Bring it home.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Nice play.
Yes.